Well, a very warm welcome to the second episode of the Solution Zone. Today we'll be going over some basic car checks, followed by some additional items that I'll be carrying during the winter and some of the items all year round. Around the 8-minute mark I'll be going over the additional items, and there'll also be a bonus alert showing an additional tip which will pop up in future shows at various times, giving you some cost saving tips. Okay, so stay tuned. You are entering the Solution Zone. Okay, thank you for tuning in to the second episode of the Solution Zone, and today we're going to be talking about some of the checks you should do in the winter and weekly checks as well, and some things that you should carry in your car at all times. So I'll be talking over the video to walk us through the process. Okay, so let's get in. The first thing we're going to talk about is the engine oil check. Very important, and let's see how we can do that. Okay, so in order to check the engine oil, first thing we want to do is to pull out the engine oil dipstick and give it a clean and then put it back in. Now on every engine, this is a Kia Soul, this is the dipstick, this is where you fill it, and this is where you check it. So let's take it out. Wipe it clean, and the reason we're wiping it clean is so that we can read it, and you can see the scale there. And let's put it back in, full and empty. There's about 2 litres difference between the two markers. Push it in. Make sure your car's on a level ground, pull it back out, and let's take a look. Don't know if you can see, but the oil level is up to the top, so that's good to go. Push it back in, and that's checked, and that's good. So the next thing we're going to look at is the brake fluid. Here's the brake fluid reservoir, and let's take a look at it. See if it needs topping up. Make sure you use whatever recommendations that you need. This is .4. So we've zoomed into the brake reservoir, and as you can see, there's the cap. Take it off to top it up and make sure you put it back on tightly. The level's up to there, and this is from the garage. They topped it up and put it to there. The maximum line you can see is there, it's full, and there is the minimum line. Make sure it doesn't go below the minimum line or air can get into your system. As you can see, they've gone about 3 millimeters over the full mark. Now as the brakes wear, you'll see the liquid will drop, so keep an eye on that. We're going to move on to coolant levels, and I've got some water that I'm going to show as an example, just so you can see how the device works. And we'll be using a hydrometer. Now there's 5 balls inside, and depending on how many float and how many sink, gives you a reading which we can use to work out the temperature based on a specific gravity. So we're going to do a test, and as you can see, I've got the water, and let's take a look. It's got 4 balls which have sunk and 1 ball which is floating. So let's take a look at the scale. It says 15 degrees Fahrenheit. Now don't forget, when you're driving along, the air is a lot colder than what it says on a thermometer. Okay, so I've got my coolant and I've just tipped some coolant into the measuring jug, and we're just going to test that prior, just to give you an example of how it works. So I'll just take a little bit of coolant out from the jug and we'll take a look at what the reading is. As you can see, all 5 balls are floating. So we'll just measure that on the scale, and that goes down to -40. Okay, so we're going to take off the radiator cap, spring loaded, so push down and turn it and then take it out. Put your hydrometer into the area, squeeze down, and then suck up some of the coolant, and let's take a look at what we've got. Okay, sorry you can't see all the balls, but we have 4.5 balls floating, which means about -40, just a little bit less. And you always want to dilute the antifreeze, and you want to use I use distilled water for mine when I'm doing a mixture. So place it back in, put the cap back in, press down, and job done. Okay, so now we're going to go on to the windscreen wash, and we've got the windscreen washer filler cap here. We're going to take it out. You do get a scale on there that you can use to measure, but to be honest, just topping it up works just as well. Now it is very important because in the winter it helps to remove grime, ice off the windscreen. It has an antifreeze type of property, so it's far better than water, and it's topped up and we should be good to go. Let's just put the cap back on, and you can actually see it on the cap filler. Right, job done. Moving on to tyre pressures. I found the Tyretech gauge is a really good gauge. It's the one that I use. We're just going to check the tyre pressures, and everyone probably knows how to check these. Remove the cap, put your gauge on, check it, and 33 psi is what all 4 tyres should be at. Put the cap back on, keeps moisture out and dirt, keeps it in good condition. So if you do have a flat tyre or a low tyre, you can use this compressor. It's just a little Black & Decker 400 battery powered, and you plug it into your tyre valve and then switch it on, and off it goes. When you're finished, switch it off. There's a dial on just to the right of the switch where you can check the pressure, and it also operates as a 12 volt supply or 120 supply inverter up to 400 watts, and you can use it as a battery jump starter as well for your car. So it's got a little flashlight at the front as well. What more can you ask for? You have reached that part of the show where we're going to go into the additional items that we carry not only over winter but throughout the year as well. For some of the items, you have reached the solution zone. So the first item on the list is a sleeping bag. I've got 2 sleeping bags in my car for me and my wife, and I live in Pennsylvania, not far from Pittsburgh. And just an example, 2 years ago in 2022, the coldest temperature for that year was -6 degrees Fahrenheit, which would for the Celsius people be -21. So you can appreciate it is pretty essential. Easily break down with those sort of temperatures. So to keep yourself warm and ready for any rescue that's on its way, I recommend carry a sleeping bag. Okay, so the next item on the list is a portable compressor. Now this is a 12-volt compressor, so you can plug it into your cigarette lighter, and cheap and cheerful, cost about, I don't know, $15. It's more, stick it in the back of your car. Now if you want a tip, if you want to pump up your tyres quickly, then I'd recommend use your jack to lift the tyres off the ground and then put the compressor on, and you'll find it'll pump up the tyres a lot quicker. Okay, also we've got a scraper. Now this is a good quality long reach scraper, and in Pennsylvania, if you've got snow on the top of your car that's blowing around, it is an offence if you're driving, so you can use this to get all the snow off and you stay within the law. Now this has got a breaker and a scraper. You can see the breaker here. This will break through thick ice prior to scraping it off, so run that over and then finish off with your scraper. Okay. We've all seen people trying to use their credit cards to get the ice off. No good. Be prepared. Get the tools. What else do I take with me to make the journey more pleasant should I break down and be stranded somewhere? I take my special Walmart bag, fully insulated. Let's get it over to the inspection table and take a look. Okay, so we're at the inspection table, and let's take a look inside. Okay, so we have a hat, we have a knife, we have a tyre repair kit, some gloves, and a battery jump starter. Okay, so let's take a look at what we've got. Simple knife, cheap and cheerful, cut through the packaging. And let's take a look at our tyre repair kit that we mentioned. 5 tyres this can repair, so and you can buy extra patches, and there's plenty of YouTube videos on how to use these. I don't have a puncture, so I can't show you, but they're cheap and cheerful, and they will get you to the nearest service station to get a new tyre or replaced, and off you go. Moving on, let's take a look at the jump starter. Let's get it open, see what we've got inside, and there it is, the jump starter. Plenty of leads. We'll just speed up the video here. Okay, so we've got the cables out, and we've got a phone connection for your phone, so you can charge up your phone. A few different connections. That's for your power supply there. You can plug it into the mains. You can also plug it into a 12-volt supply from your car, so if you want to charge it up on the road, you can do that. So that's quite convenient as well. You may use it and you want to recharge it, and you can plug it back in and get it recharged. Flashlight on the front as well, so that's quite convenient if it's dark. Peel back the cap, get your leads, plug them straight into the device. The device is switched off at the moment, so okay. Right, so you always plug the positive on first, the positive red connector, and the negative lead will go on last towards the engine or some metal work on the car, and reverse order for disconnection. extra boost button here. Tired of buying scented fragrances that you put on your mirror that last about a month or maybe 2 months at the most? Well, here's a solution. Get a pack of scented candles from IKEA, tea lights, cost about $2-3, maybe $4, and put them in a container and put them in the back of your car. You'll get fragrances all year round. In the summer, with the heat, it'll be a bit more fragrant. In the winter, won't smell as much, but it'll still do the job. And these will last forever. And you can use them as tea lights if you need to as well. Okay, so if you've liked this video, make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for the next one. Take care.